For over 20 years, I was chronically unwell. But then one day, I accidentally discovered something that changed everything. And it's probably not what you think. It was hidden food allergies. And they might be behind your unexplained health problems too. You see, in the past, I was frequently suffering from various pain issues, including migraines. I had near blackout spells that appeared out of the blue, occasional severe gastrointestinal problems, and of course, inflammation. There was surgery, hospitalizations, years of medications, and it always ended with, we don't know the cause. Despite all the troubles with my body, I felt my mental problems were even worse. I'll go more into this in my next video. For now, I'll say, even at the best of times, I was always tired and low energy, and I had trouble getting anything done. I was resigned to the fact that this was my lot in life, a body that I couldn't trust, and an invisible struggle that no one would understand why I couldn't do anything. Then one day, my husband came home from a doctor's appointment and said he wanted to try a gluten-free diet. Now hold up, I want to make it clear. The answer here is not about going gluten-free will solve everyone's problems. Nope, this is not about that. So hear me out. This was in 2014 when the gluten-free diet was just entering public consciousness. Thanks to some famous people like Lady Gaga and Novak Djokovic. I thought, well, maybe it might help him. Who knows? Because he had gastrointestinal discomfort his whole life and had recently had some other health troubles, so I wanted to support him. But me? Nah, I only ended up joining in because cooking 2 different meals was way too much work for someone who could barely manage one. He felt only a minor difference, like a little less bloating perhaps, but starting about a week in, I was having the surprise of my life. Is this how other healthy people feel? Now that I knew this was a possibility and my energy was better, I could continue to experiment with our diet and find out what else was happening. My first trigger that I really just stumbled upon was wheat, but that was the first and there were several more, and your triggers might be completely different. It's not about the particular food, it's about your immune system's reaction to the food. And since finding all those triggers, 99% of those symptoms I had, all the pain, low energy, gone. My brain is so much clearer. Back then, I could barely handle my own body and preparing 1 meal a day. Now I can care for a highly energetic kid, manage the household, prep all the meals most days, and do my research and writing. It was literally life-changing, and even that feels like an understatement. You might be skeptical. I was too. If someone told me back then allergies might be behind my problems, I would have been like, but I'd know if I had food allergies, right? And I was sure I didn't have any. There was no food that I avoided or had trouble with, and I thought I knew what allergies looked like. Hives, swelling, obvious reactions. I was wrong. For a while, I couldn't believe it, so I got tested. And surprise, surprise, I even tested positive for multiple food and inhalant allergies. And yes, that included some of my triggers I had identified by then. Then I started to wonder, how many others could there be that could be saved from their suffering if they only knew the cause? This is where I hit a bit of a wall because I knew my past self would not have believed me. How could I present this in a way that could actually reach her and others like her who might need this? And coming from a science background, it made it harder in a sense because I knew at best this was a case study. So I sat on this for several years, reading hundreds of research papers, starting with allergies to all kinds of chronic health conditions. I learned a lot about our immune system and the many weird ways that allergies can present. Here's what I learned. What we usually recognize as allergies are only the very tip of the iceberg. I also found there were plenty of people who knew that food reactions could cause all sorts of issues, especially in the food sensitivity arena. And people who have experienced the dramatic changes firsthand know of it as the true miracle it can be, but it is still frequently dismissed as merely a sensitivity or only an intolerance by medical professionals and lay people alike. Many things classed as merely a sensitivity are actually allergies. When we think allergies, we usually think immediate reactions. These are the obvious allergies that involve a class of antibodies called IgE, short for immunoglobulin E. And yes, we all know they can be life-threatening. But there is a whole hidden world of allergies that look nothing like this. They can affect every organ of your body, even your brain. They don't always happen immediately. They can be delayed by hours, even days. And they may not show up on standard allergy tests. Even when they do show up on tests, like some of mine, they can present in unusual ways that are rarely recognized as allergies. Your immune system can react to foods and environmental triggers in ways that cause chronic inflammation throughout your entire body. There are several different pathways this can happen without involving IgE. And because the reaction can be delayed and systemic, it's hard for you and even your doctors to connect the dots. These hidden allergies may be the actual culprit behind many chronic unexplained health conditions and mental health symptoms, maybe even the majority of them. Not all, obviously, because other medical causes exist, but my estimates on how common this might be have grown quite a bit based on the research. I want to share a quote from Dr. John W. Gerrard, who left many observations through his clinical practice that were way ahead of his time. Note all mention of food intolerances here are likely cases of hidden allergies that we are talking about. From the clinical point of view, food intolerances are probably of much greater frequency and importance than classical food allergy, but many allergists avoid handling patients with food intolerances on the pretext that they do not have true allergies. Children with ADHD are not placed on diets, patients with IBS are treated every which way, but rarely with elimination diets. Those with migraine headaches are offered the latest painkiller, but never or hardly ever is an attempt made to discover the food or foods that trigger the headache. Dermatologists still lean heavily on topical steroids for the treatment of eczema. Otolaryngologists prefer the knife and antihistamines to the soothing of the investigative allergist. Not knowing the real cause and only going for a symptom control can sometimes have devastating lifelong consequences. I found a real-life example of this in Diane N. Solomon's essay. I'll provide a link in the descriptions in case you'd like to read it from her own words. She suffered severe asthma for much of her life and was treated with anabolic steroids for years as a child, and that led to permanent stunted growth. Only in adulthood, she finds out that she has multiple food allergies to foods she ate all her life. And once those were eliminated, she was finally freed from her asthma. Her mother had been repeatedly assured that foods could not possibly cause asthma. That was clearly not true. However, she seems to have not let this hold her back and led a full life. Who are most likely to have hidden allergies? So far, allergies that do not involve IgE, called non-IgE mediated allergies, are mostly described in babies and young children. But those most likely to not know and have long-suffering issues, I believe, are adults, and a bit more likely women, with any personal or family history of atopic conditions, including things like eczema and seasonal allergies. Even if you outgrew your childhood allergies, you may have developed these hidden ones. And they may be dealing with mood disorders, anxiety, chronic fatigue, IBS, other digestive issues, migraines, fibromyalgia, joint pain, and various skin problems. This experience taught me that there probably is a root cause to all those troubles, whether it's hidden allergies, autoimmune disease, or even some infections. It's not all due to stress or all in your head, and when a cause can be found, there is hope. Especially so if the cause is found to be hidden allergies. There's an actual cure, not just symptom management, and the cure is a diet or environmental plan. It's not extensive surgeries or lifelong medication, and it does not have scary side effects. It's something you can find and manage yourself. How many people might be needlessly suffering because they don't know the root cause? Have you had unexplained symptoms that doctors couldn't find the cause? Do you think you might have hidden allergies? Feel free to share in the comments. Next week, I'll be back with more on how mental health could be affected by hidden allergies. Subscribe so you don't miss it and help spread the word. Thank you for watching and keep on healing.